What's up, YouTube? This is Big Mike, aka Too Raw for TV. And in this video, I want to talk about Derrick Rose of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Right now, he's having the best season he's probably had since his heyday with the Chicago Bulls. And he is a leading candidate for both Sixth Man of the Year, which I think he's a shoo-in to win. Hopefully he stays healthy. And he's also a candidate for Most Improved Player, although we already knew what Derrick Rose was capable of if he was healthy. And as a Chicago Bulls fan, I want to also issue a most sincere apologies for the frustration that we showed during the years where you couldn't get healthy or stay healthy. There were certain statements that you made that, at times made us question your desire to play. I remember you saying that you like to be healthy to walk your daughter down the aisle and didn't want to be messed up or whatever. And, a lot of people took that as, well, he doesn't want to perform. He doesn't want to play. But you know what? As a person who suffers from physical problems himself, and sometimes you shouldn't even say some shit on YouTube, man, because sometimes you're too real for fake people, and sometimes fake people like to take advantage of shit you say, you know what I'm saying? But I understand where Derrick Rose is coming from with that. As a Chicago Bull fan, man, we were used to, especially as me growing up as a kid in the 80s and 90s, we were always at least contenders. You know what I'm saying? You understand you're not going to win a championship every year. You get that. But you do want to feel as though you're in the mix. You want to be a part of a team that's at least contending for something. And for the last 20 years or so, for the most part, the Chicago Bulls have been either mediocre or downright awful ever since the post-Michael Jordan era. And Derrick Rose gave us hope for a while. Derrick Rose gave us something to believe in again. And that MVP campaign, whether or not you believe he should have won it or not, his MVP campaign gave us hope for the future. The year I think that we won 60 games. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we were vanquished in the playoffs, but you could see on the horizon good things for this team. And then the injury happening in the playoffs. I was watching that game when Derrick Rose went down, and I knew our playoff hopes for that year were dashed, Just like I remember with Michael Jordan. Whenever he would tweak his ankle, man, Chicago would hold his breath. And everybody would think about what happened his sophomore year when he broke his foot. So everybody was always, not always on pins, I don't mean that, but whenever Jordan would tweak an ankle or roll an ankle or whatever, you would have these flashbacks to, oh man, is the franchise in trouble? But every time, we showed that foot injury was a freak injury and he was pretty much an Iron Man. But with Derrick Rose, I thought, okay, well, there's next year. But then this began the series of a Grant Hill-like situation where he just kept getting injured and kept getting injured and kept getting injured. And as a Chicago Bulls fan, you grew frustrated. Is he really injured? Is he milking it? Whatever. Which is probably extremely unfair and wrong for all of us to think that way. But what we should have been paying attention to was the fact that he kept coming back. See, a lot of guys, unlike a Derrick Rose or a Grant Hill, they quit. And there's no shame necessarily in that. They don't want to go through the process of surgery or rehabilitation or healing consistently, you know, every year in and out. They don't want to keep going through that. And that's understandable. But for certain guys, they have to go through this. The love of the game is too strong for them to give up. I throw Larry Bird in that mix too. And it was only after the fact that we realized what Larry Bird was really going through with his back pain. But I really felt sorry for Derrick Rose when the Utah Jazz waived him, because I thought that a former MVP deserved better than that. He deserved better than what the Utah Jazz did to him. And I'm glad that he had that 50-point game this year against the very team that disrespected him like that just last year. And for a little while, Derrick Rose was not even in the league anymore. A guy that was a former MVP, and I think at the time only 29 years old. He's still just 30 years old. If you look at what he's doing this year, man, for the Timberwolves, averaging 19 points in only 29 minutes, shooting 49% from the floor, by far his most efficient year of his career, shooting 47% from beyond the arc. This is a guy, now he's not the most prolific three-point shooter. He's not shooting a lot of them, but he's taking smart three-point shots. He has become an extraordinarily efficient offensive player. He was never exactly Westbrook or Allen Iverson as far as efficiency is concerned, or lack of efficiency, but he's showing that he is a very intelligent basketball player. If you take what he's doing now and you progress it to the amount of minutes he played during his MVP season, or adjust it to the minutes that he did during his MVP season, he would be averaging something like 24 points, about 4 rebounds, and 6 assists per game, which are close to what he was doing his MVP year. All right, so officially, Derrick Rose is back, and you could argue the rules, the freedom of movement rules helping a guy like him out, but still, you could argue, for the most part, officially, Derrick Rose is back, and I hope he stays healthy. And sometimes when I make titles to videos, they can come across as mean. And I hope it is not to that effect. Like I said, sometimes, I'm a comic, or I try to be a comic. And I'm not the most, what's the word I want to look for? Sometimes I'm not the most obeisant person. Sometimes I can be a little bit irreverent, a little bit snarky. Like I remember I did a video where I said, after Derrick Rose had his injury earlier this year, where he came back from rather quickly, I said, Derrick Rose does what he does best, getting injured. In hindsight, that looks like something in poor taste. That's just me. I don't really play favorites on my channel. I make fun of everybody. And if you know my style, and if you've been subscribed to me long enough, then you understand that with very few exceptions, none of the shit I say is personal. It's just entertainment. I even don't personally hate Tom Brady. I just don't like the Patriots, man. I don't like them. He's the representation of the Patriots. He's the biggest representation of the Patriots. So therefore, I have to aim most of my animus at him. I don't like hypocrisy, and that explains that. But to to Derrick Rose, I wish him the best. And Chicago, we never knew what we really had with him. We really didn't appreciate what we had with him. So, you know, that's all I have to say about that, man. And I think Derrick Rose still has a lot of basketball left in him. And hopefully, maybe one day he'll don the red and black once again. Never know what can happen, man.